We crafted this work for you to really share with you what's going on behind the scenes in the industry. What's going on today, the world is changing very quickly, and I want to share with you how you, as a spiritually connected, mission-focused woman, can use your business to really help create impact not only for yourself, for your family, for other people around you. And I want you to stop working so hard. If you feel like you might be working too hard and not making the money that you want to make, this training is going to be great for you. Today, I want to share with you one thing that we've changed. Actually, it's a series of systems, but really what the kind of the story behind what we've learned that's saving us thousands of dollars a month. And it helps us to really be attractive and magnetic. As we were talking yesterday, Shelley, about, when you're clear, it's just so much easier to attract your ideal clients, the people you're here to partner with. So most of you are not right now concerned about spending $10,000 a month on building a team. I don't know where you are in your business. I'm going to ask you to join me and share with me, what's comfortable for you. But you may feel familiar with this idea, which is as you want to grow your business, there's one more thing to buy. There's one more subscription to add. There's one more membership you have to have. If you can been familiar with that feeling, it's kind of a common way that we've been taught in business is you have to keep adding more and more and more. So if you can resonate with that, if that feels like something that you've experienced, let me know there in the chat. Let us know that you can understand how that's feeling. What I want to share with you today is the good news is it doesn't have to be that way, right? So the way that business is done in the past, where you had to keep adding more and you had to keep building teams and you had to keep struggling and working more hours, kind of the whole idea of the hustle culture. Who here has had a business before today? Who's had a business before this business that you're in right now? Okay, yeah, me too. And so kind of the old school, those of us that have been around for a little while, was if you just worked harder, you'd make more money. And unfortunately, that's not the secret to your success as a woman who is spiritually connected on a mission with your business. So what I want to talk to you about is how you can actually be moving forward, scaling your company without having to know all the technology, without having to know, all the steps, because we've got some great things in place for you. So give me a 1 in the chat if any of these feel resonant for you. If you feel like you don't know how to grow without working more hours, give me a 1. You don't have the money to hire a real team if you're feeling stretched financially and you feel like, gosh, if I just had more money, I could hire the team and the help that I need. If you ever feel like you are treading water, you feel like you're working and you're doing all the things, but it doesn't feel like you're actually getting the traction that you need. Chantel, I can see you smiling, hopefully with me and not giggling at me. And then for those of us that have family members, people we love, we could be friends, could be families. Do you ever feel like you're giving your family your leftovers instead of really giving them your best? Feeling like your business is getting all of your energy and all of your time, and then when it gets time to be with family and friends, you kind of are just beat and don't have much to give. Let us know if that's how you've been feeling. If you have any of those experiences, what I want to share with you is you're not alone and you're in the right place tonight. Whether you're just getting started in your business, and we look at the different phases of business or where you are. There's no right or wrong here. So just understand that we all start at zero. We're all going to go at the end. So there's everything that happens in between in the journey. So if you identify as a starter, meaning that you're under $30,000 a year, would you do me a favor and just put a 1 in the chat? Let me know who here is in the emerging stages of business. You may be great at what you do, but you're really not finding the easy way to get your revenue on track. And again, just understand this is a safe place. Nobody's going to see what you put there. This is just for me to know who we're talking to, because I really want to make sure that everything that we offer you tonight is going to give you great value wherever you are in the journey. Now, some of you might be a little farther along in your business, but you might be feeling that what brought you to this call is that you're tired of grinding. You're working so many hours, but you're really not seeing the profit that you want to see. If you feel like that's where you are, would you do me a favor and drop a 2 in the chat for me? And then some of you, like me, have been around for a little while, right? You might be in business, you might have hit that 6-figure number, you might be farther along, but you might have also built yourself a job. So if you can relate to what I'm saying, you're working more hours than you want to, you really want to get a little more time freedom and have more profit in your business. If you identify with that, you consider yourself one of the folks that have been around for a while, drop a number 3 in the chat for us. Okay. So here's what I want to share with you today. When you do what I'm going to share with you now, which is going to be a little bit different. So somebody had written to us and said, "Hey, what do I bring?" And the answer was, "Come with an open mind," right? Because you really get, if you know that you've been doing the things that are not working, you want to figure out how to do something different, right? If you want a different result, what I want to share with you is that when you remove the activities that are not giving you the results that you want, when we get rid of 90% of the things that you're working on right now, it takes a lot of faith. It takes a big leap. And I'm going to share with you why it works and how it works. I give you my word. But here's the deal. There's so much noise out there. I mean, does anybody relate to that? Anybody feel like, I'm just a person who's not on social media a lot, but I can watch my friends, I can watch my clients, I can watch my family members get really caught up in all the stuff that's going on and all the noise. What I want to give you tonight is the opportunity to get really clear about the right activities in the right order, because it makes a big difference, right? Shelly and I were talking last night. You've done some great things, Shelly, with your business. You've got a beautiful website. You've been keynote speaker at the A&A conference. I mean, clearly you've done some great things. What I want to look at with you now is like, what's the order of things? And it just takes a little bit of a pause. And when we get you really clear about the right activities in the right order, what happens is your impact grows, your scale grows. And I want to give you the systems that we've created in Limitless Women. And this is, I realized I said this in the last time I did a webinar with Manuel. I was like, I don't really have a credibility slide. I have a whole slide about you guys and what's going on for you, and not a whole lot about I'm Laura Gisborne and this is my platform. But I want to make sure that you have what you need about you, and you're welcome to ask me anything you want to ask me about me when we get to Q&A time. So let me tell you what is important to know is that you're in the right place as a spiritually connected, mission-focused woman. Because at Limitless Women, we are a philanthropy-first organization, and our goal is to give our way to millions, to have business be a force for good in the world, and have women know that they are catalysts for change in their own lives, in the lives of their families, in the lives of their communities. And when we teach you how to build profits with purpose, not only is your life changed, but the lives of people around you are changed. And it's a way to do business that's embracing and generous and collaborative, which is really how women are made to be. We've heard a lot of different stories about how it can be out in the world. I'm here to tell you that when your business is on track and you're in the right community with the right fellow peers, you'll be thrilled to see how free and easy it can be to be profitable and purposeful. All right. So this is the most important question of the evening. Why are you here? Now, this is a beautiful picture of like, oh, what's your God work? I don't mean it that way. I mean, what is it that brought you tonight? What had you say, hey, I've got other things I could be doing. I want to come and listen and hear. There's something that's going on for you. I believe without even asking you, talking to you one-on-one, you're probably a person who wants to help people. And I just know this because as a woman who's on a mission, I tend to attract other women on a mission. I feel like this work for myself is my God work. This is my season of life. I'll be 60 this year. I'm in a season of legacy and impact. I know that if I'm not being successful in my own business, it's really hard for me to give to others, right? But when I build a business that's successful and congruent and aligned with bigger work, it makes it easier for me to give from the overflow. So raise your hand or put a yes I was going to say a heck yes in the chat if you know that it's time for you to be profitable. If you know that your struggle is not the only way it can be. If you know that it's time for you to have a different way of doing business, let me know that you know you're in the right place, because it helps me to know that I'm talking to the right ladies. All right. So I'm going to give you a little bit of perspective of how Limitless Women was built. And I will just say, for reference, this is my ninth company over the last 35 years. I married into a family business when I was 23. It was a restaurant. We all wore all the hats. We worked all the hours. And it was great until I decided to be a mama. And then it was time to do business a little bit differently. So there was all the kind of places that I've learned different things in business. But when I started being asked to speak and lead, I was not a speaker. I had not written any books. works. This is not anything that I ever dreamed of doing. But it's how it is when your calling finds you. You get that little nudge. And I think, Shelley, you're smiling with me because you can relate to this. It's like you've got your day job, your life is full, and there's this nudge, and it just keeps pulling you forward and it keeps asking you to do more. And you're like, wait, but who? But me? So I didn't know how to build a business like this. I had not built an internet-based business. I had built brick and mortar businesses. So this is a picture of me standing in what usually looked like where I built this business from, which was small rooms. I was what's known as a road warrior. In this picture, I'm in Colorado. I lived in Colorado. I would travel 3 times a month, 4 times a month. My children are grown now. If they were little, I wouldn't have been able to do that, but it was a season of life. I would get called and asked to speak, and I would fly to wherever I needed to go speak. I would spend the money to do it, and I would just keep going and sharing the message. And it was not a sustainable business model, I can tell you. I didn't know it at the time. I was doing the best I could with what I knew, and I think a lot of you might be able to relate to that. You're doing the best you can with what you got, and there's nothing wrong with that, right? But at some point, you, like me, might end up with something as a little bit of a wake-up call, right? For me, that wake-up call was in March of 2020. I was in Los Angeles. I'd just gone to a birthday party with my daughter, and I went through the airport, and it was not this picture. This is a computer-generated picture, but you get the idea because I don't have a picture of walking through the airport. But I remember walking through the airport and seeing a man in a hazmat suit. And we had heard all these rumors about what was going on in the world, and nobody really knew what it was. I didn't know what it was. Other people didn't know what it was. But I called my daughter from the airport and said, you know what? I think you need to come home. I think you need to pack your car and drive. She lived in California. She drove home to Colorado. And the next week, as we know, the world shut down. Right. And it wasn't just my world shut down, the world shut down, and we didn't know what was going on. But here's what I recognized is that what I had been doing for my business, where I've been flying places, meeting people, shaking hands, going from place to place, that wasn't going to be an option anymore. Right. And it wasn't like it just happened for a day or a week or a month. I started to recognize that our business model was not sustainable. If you guys can remember, obviously you can't, you all have your own journey with COVID, but we were on lockdown, and then we were in, and then we were out, and then we were in, and none of us knew. And I'm saying, Shelley, you being in the medical field, I mean, God bless you. It's just such a time, right? So that's that place of like, we didn't know what we didn't know. But what I did know is that my business built on only me making connections. All of our origination was coming from me being out and meeting people one-on-one, was not a scalable business model. And if I wanted to do something different, if I wanted a different result, which I had no choice, we had to do some things differently, right? I just get out of my own way of like, hey, I don't really want to hang out on social media and talk about what everybody had for lunch. Instead, I'm like, okay, wait a second. How are we going to stay connected? How are we going to actually continue to serve people? And that's what had us launch our podcast. That's what had us launch our YouTube channel, right? That's what had us start doing events like this, where I said, hey, there's a lot of women that I may not meet down at the local networking event that I really know need this help, right? So I stopped running. I went back to what I remembered from my early days in business. So one restaurant led to 2 restaurants, led to 3 restaurants. Guess what? I couldn't be the waitress and the bartender and the cashier and the cook in 3 different locations because I'm one mere mortal, right? So I remembered, hey, what does it look like to have systems? What if I approached Limitless Women with a new perspective? And instead of building my house on the sand, where I'm just kind of like going with what I know, I decided to go back to my foundations. I decided to go back and revisit what I knew about building a business, which is that systems will support you in good times and bad. Right? Systems are really the freedom for business. And I went in and I just, I basically took a load against myself and said, I'm going to do this. I'm going to go back and revisit my foundations. And God bless my husband, because he said, what's a better investment than you? And I was so blessed in that moment to have that conversation with him. And I needed to start over. I needed to start over in a lot of ways. So I got my systems in place, and I stopped thinking like a solopreneur, and I started thinking like a business owner. And I realized that the hustle, the amount of time that I was spending traveling to and from for very low, small impact connections could be scaled, and I could reach a lot more people if I would get uncomfortable and learn some things that I didn't know. Now, I will say that many of you right now are in the infancy of your business. You're figuring it out. Some of you have been in business for years and you're not monetizing. There's no judgment here. There's no right or wrong. And if you're just coming on now, welcome. We're happy to have you. Do me a favor, join the conversation, put your camera on. Let's have a chat. We're here for you, and I'm here to do Q&A. This is my evening is all about you. So please join the conversation for yourself and don't just listen in the background. There's one more thing to do. If wherever you are in the journey, whether you're just getting started, you've been in business for a while and you haven't made the money that you want to make, I'm here to tell you the good news is today could be a day that changes things for you, but only if you decide to say yes to yourself. Only if you decide to really look at what's possible. And I want you to dream a little bit. And I want you to think about where you would be going. What would you be doing? Take a minute and think about that. If you just had won the lottery of life, and I would say like the big fat Oprah lottery, not the little lottery, the great big one. If you won the big lottery, what would you be doing with your life? What would you be doing? Who would you be with? Where would you be going? I said to Emmanuel earlier today, he was looking at these pictures and he said, man, you in Africa. I was like, Africa changed my life. Africa and the people of Africa changed my life. Their generosity, spirit, and who they be in the world. It's my dream to go back to Africa again and again. And as a result of building systems, as a result of building a business that runs, whether I'm home or not, I've been able to celebrate my children with my son and daughter looking kind of funny here to us. This is really an honor and a privilege. We had our faces painted. We were working with the Achuar people and the indigenous folks that live in the Amazon rainforest. We went there to build a birthing center for the women there. And on the flip side of personal, this is my husband and I celebrating my son's engagement. He's getting married this year, so it's pretty cool, right? So, and then Mr. Gisborne, his dream was to go to see the pyramids in Egypt, which we've done, right? I'm just kind of think, I want you to know that one of the things to think about with your business is your business can be the vehicle to get you to where you want to go. But it's like many things, it only works that way if you work with it. And, I'm going to talk to you a little bit about some things tonight. And I want to just not make it all sunshine and roses and rainbows and butterflies. I want to say to you that for many of you that have been around for a while, if you're willing to join me in this journey, I promise you it's a little bit, it's what we call in our world the short hurt versus the long hurt, right? The long hurt, if you can relate, is you're doing the same thing over and over again and you're grinding and this idea or this vision is dying in your heart. And you're being all things to all people. Like, it's tough to come here this time of night. Thanks for coming. I want to say that if you can listen to what I'm going to share with you, what's available is that this is not just my story. This is the story of other women who have gone on this journey and used the systems, not just limitless women, but the wide awakening. Dr. Esther Graham's work. Here we are in an early education center. This is another group of our clients and friends with us in Kenya and South America. I'm going to show you that there are women just like you that have used these systems and they've taken themselves from struggling to freedom. This is Betsy Clark. And when she and I met, she was getting ready to be a grandma for the first time. And I'm going to tell you, we have young women in their late 20s. It's really kind of the youngest that we have right now. Actually, I think our youngest limitless woman is 23. And then we have our most mature woman, Lynn Bruce, who is 87, who's a long distance bike rider, whole nother conversation. But I will say, kind of lots of ages in between. When Betsy came to me, we'd known each other. We'd kind of been friends, peripheral, but didn't really know each other. And then she and I connected. She said, I want to work 20 hours a week. I don't want to work 40 hours a week. I don't want to work 80 hours a week. I want to be a grandma. I want to spend time with my grandchild. And I said to her, great, let's get clear about your numbers. In just 6 weeks of working together, she had already gone over 1.5 times what she had made the year before, right? Here's another one of my friends who I just want you to know, and her name is Paula Muhammad. She's a new friend of mine. She's actually came to us as a referral from another client of ours, Sharon Spender. She came to me and said, hey, I've been in business for 6 years and I've really been struggling and I haven't figured out how to monetize this thing. And she's a smart woman and she's a real estate investor. She's done all these other things. We started working together, my friends, on November the 4th. On January 15th, I have to up this number now because it's going up. But on January 15th, she had 13 women enrolled in her membership program. was very exciting. I think, again, when I said to her, I was like, Paula, what was it? What was the thing? She did the actions I'm going to share with you. And she said the biggest differentiator for her was getting clarity. So there's no lack of news out there or things that you can be distracted by. But if you get clear about the right actions and the right order, it will really change your outcomes, right? Just really get on the same idea with me on this. This is my this sits by my desk because I just always need to remember it, just kind of as a brain fart here. But I think you guys will appreciate this. Is watch your thoughts, they become your words. Watch your words, they become your actions. You guys have heard this before. Watch your actions, they become your habits. Watch your habits, they become your character. And watch your character, it becomes your destiny. And we print these up and say, watch your character, it becomes your legacy. At Legacy Leaders and at Limitless Women, what we know is that the women in our community share the values that we share, which is when we do well, not only are we blessed, but we can bless others, right? And here's a great share with Amanda Slade, who, when started working with me, she'd been in business several years. She had one revenue stream in her business. She has a couple of different streams coming on, but she has one revenue stream that she did $12,000 in sales in 2025. Just now, because it's February as I'm recording this with you guys, she shared with me that that same revenue stream that did $12,000 all year last year has done 27,000 in the month of January. So these are not pie in the sky numbers, my friends. This is not like, oh, and then we won the lottery and it was $1 million in revenue. This is not a bro fest over here. I'm telling you, for most of us as women, we want to get clear and know our numbers. And this is what's possible for you. It doesn't have to be a struggle in business. And what I'm here to do is to say, the world needs you. We need your gifts more than ever. It's an interesting time, and I don't want to get into politics. I want to say that it's a tough time in the world. And it's always been tough in many different ways and in different iterations. But right now, I feel like you're here right now, and it's not an accident. There's something that's happening for you, and the world needs your gifts and your talents and your experience. And there's no one like you. So you've got it's more than ever, it's important for you to get serious about this and take the right actions to get the right results. They're going to change lives, because I know you wouldn't be here if that wasn't on your heart. All right. I'm going to pop into the 5 keys that I want to share with you. And then as we finish, if you are new coming into the group here, I will say that I'm here to do Q&A this evening. So any questions you have about what we're sharing or how it can work in your own business, it's my pleasure to help you. And, please feel free to stay on. All right. So the 5 keys to making more and working less happen, and they happen in this order. Let me say that again. Let me slow down because I go fast. These 5 keys are part of our 7-pillar system that Limitless Women is built on, that thousands of other women's businesses are built on, the systems I'm going to share with you. But these keys have to be in place, and they work in order. It's kind of like opening a door, right? Like you open the front door, then you open the next door. You've got to go through the doors in order. So you just got to hang in with me a little bit about this. Some of this you're going to say like, oh, I've been in business for a while. I already know that. Have a beginner's mind just for tonight. Okay. Join me just for tonight with something that you didn't think you already knew. All right. The first is your business model. The second is your messaging. The third is owning your unique system. The fourth is embracing sales with ease. And the fifth is knowing your numbers. Now, as I said, this is that 7-pillar system. And these work in order, because having a great model that's backed by a strong vision and core values and culture and clarity then leads to marketing language and messaging that's magnetic. If you don't have the first pillar, you may be out there spinning your wheels and throwing out a lot of information, but it's not landing. And that's why you're not getting sales, which is the third pillar, right? And for most of us on this call that are not backed by venture capital, we're bootstrapping. We are raising money. We had to learn how to do sales, which is literally why we created these programs for you, because until you learn how to generate revenue, it doesn't matter how great your SOPs are. Right? Until you actually are serving people, you're not changing lives. So I want to see you get into action with the things that are important. So the pieces that you need to know in your business model, quite simply, are this. You need to know who your ideal client is. Meaning, if you only work, I was trying to think, our friend Joe Stolte, who's Manuel and I are in a mastermind with him. He says, if you only could work with the people that you would work with for free all day, every day, right? Or you only got paid after you got them results. who would that be? I know at Limitless Women, and I just know this after years of working through the women that are not my ideal client, that we are here for women on a mission. We are here to work with spiritually connected women who feel that this work is their calling. And they know that each of us together are like a beautiful tapestry around the world, right? These are the women that I love working with. They come in different shapes, they come in different sizes, they come in different colors, they come in different ages. But what's congruent for us all is that we're spiritually connected and that we know our work is here to make a difference. In your own way, I want you to know who that is so that when you meet somebody who you really like, you could say like, gosh, it's so nice to meet you, but this isn't who I'm here to serve. I'd like to introduce you to my friend Chantel. That's actually what her company does. Get the idea? You want to know what they're struggling with. The number one struggle that happens in Limitless Women's community is profitability. And unfortunately, it's what happens for women's own businesses, across the board, not just in our community. And so I can go into the numbers and the stats with you, but I will say that the reality is I think there's a lot of reasons why we struggle with profitability. And I'm going to share a few of those with you tonight to help hopefully heal you and move you to a cleaner place with it, right? And the unique solution that we provide at Limitless Women is a proven framework and systems to help a woman get back her time and to increase her profitability so she can join us in making business a force for good in the world. All right, clarity and messaging. I just said who we are, what we do, and how we help somebody. That's the first line in having your messaging. When you want to talk to your ideal client, you want to know what are they struggling with. You want to be like, oh, hey, you know what? I can help you with all these other things. That's not what they're looking for. What has your ideal client scrolling? What has them looking for solutions? What has them looking for answers? Something brought you here. If you and I are not already friends, we'll get to be friends, but something you heard in the advertising, something that you heard in the messaging said, hey, this is the place I need to go tonight. This is what I need to hear. When your messaging is clear and it's aligned with a clear business model and backed by vision, mission, and core values, it becomes magnetic to your ideal clients, which leads us to how we do business differently, right? There's nobody like you. When we were kids growing up, we knew about fingerprints. We've had this little cute little thing here about fingerprints, right? As we've gotten older, we learned about things like DNA. Okay. Anybody old enough to remember when they mapped the genome? We're like, what the heck's the genome, right? What is that? So there's nobody that has your unique brilliance, your unique essence. I want to say that what makes women-owned businesses often different than men is that we often bring our hearts, right? We go into our businesses, we bring in our business as an expression of us. That's what makes them great. And I will also say that what's one of the things that's unique in the system at Limitless Women is that I believe every woman is unique and I believe every one of her businesses are unique. So every woman in our world gets one-on-one attention. And that's unusual, right? Who in here, raise your hand or put a number one in the chat. If you say me too, if you've had this where you bought a program and you got thrown into a system where everybody had exactly the same instructions and you were supposed to be doing the same thing as 1,000 other people and it didn't fit, right? And then you're a little frustrated because you're like, wait, that's not the way it works in my business. In my business, things are a little bit different. That's because you're different. So it's the same thing. When you actually know what's different about you and your business model, you can bring that and own your lane unapologetically, right? And it's a beautiful place to be. When you have those first keys, remember I said they work in order, this is what leads to sales with ease. Sales is not meant to be difficult. Sales is service. Sales means that someone says yes to themselves and makes an investment in growing themselves and growing their future. They're making an investment in solving their problem. But if you don't have your own stuff together and you're not clean in your energy and your delivery, it makes the sale confusing. Okay. And there's a thing in sales called a confused mind or a saying that says confused mind never buys. Anybody's ever heard that before, right? So we want to make it clean. We want to make it simple and we want it to be congruent and gentle. All right. And the fifth key I want you to know that's so important before you can grow or scale or really hit your profitability is to know your numbers. And I mean, know the numbers you currently have, not the numbers someday when you get to 500,000 and now all of a sudden you got to worry about Do I owe taxes? That's not the way numbers work. It's a little bit like a plant. You have this little plant here, right? It needs sunlight. It needs attention. It needs to be watered. It needs to be nourished. It's like a relationship. I want you to have a relationship with your numbers. And let me tell you, if you don't have a healthy relationship with your numbers when they're small, your numbers will not become big. Right? So we just learn to love our numbers as they are. And I encourage each woman on this call and whoever's listening to this recording in the future to know that you are not your numbers. You are back in that other slide, the one of a kind, only one of you. Your numbers are just here to help you, to let you know that what you're doing is working or what you're doing is not working. And if it's not working, guess what? You can change, right? With me? It's a beautiful thing. All right. So, speaking of numbers, this is my friend Donna Glassy. She's the one with the short hair. My friend Ann Neal is one with the long hair. I just love this picture of the two of them, so I had to put it in here. So Donna has a business called Blue Zenith, and she's been in business for a while. And when this is about a year ago, so probably 12 years now. And she does web design and graphic design and all kinds of cool stuff. She's got a team, and her son works for her full time. It's very cool. And they have a nice social media division. She's a great, great woman. And she's very humble. But what we shifted in her business that was not working was this piece that I'm talking to you about, numbers. She didn't want to look at her numbers. It wasn't a fun thing for her. And when we stopped having her numbers mean more than what they actually mean and actually helped her get that healed, her company hit its highest month's revenue in 11 years. And it was just the simple things. That's what I'm saying to you often, ladies. When we have a complicated brain, God's gifted us with this beautiful brain. This can carry a lot of complication. It gets in the way. The simplest acts give you the simplest results, right? So here's an invitation for you. I'm going to ask you to open up your calendar. Do you have your calendar there? If you've got your phone, your computer, open up your calendar. All right. Now, last week, when you look at your schedule for last week, how much time did you spend each day inviting someone to work with you? You don't have to put it in the chat. It's for you and you alone. Okay. But here's what I'll tell you. When I am speaking to you in a one-on-one conversation, this is often a like, what? A light bulb moment, right? Like, what? Who? Asking who? What? I didn't have this in order. I didn't have my website ready. I didn't have my email campaigns ready. I didn't have my hair dyed, whatever the story is. Okay. This is just an indication to you of where you're doing either the wrong activity or you're doing a good activity. I was talking about Shelley having her website up and it's so beautiful, but it's in the wrong order. I want to share with you that profitability lies in consistent actions. And every woman that I know that's on a financial roller coaster that has a good month and then a slow month and then a good month and a slow month, it's literally, she's just missing systems. This is where your evidence lies. It lies in your calendar, right? Okay. When your systems are working, the beautiful thing, and this is what allows you to have multiple locations, multiple lives changed, lots of time freedom to travel and do the things you love with people, is that the systems are running even when you're not, right? They rinse and repeat, but you got to do a little bit of disciplined action and slow down and build the systems with me. With me? Make sense? Okay. So how do you build it? You have two options. And Emmanuel, I love this picture. I was like, what is this picture? But now I can see it on a big screen. I can kind of see what it is. Okay. You have two options. You can either take the slow winding road. I don't know where this is, the slow winding road, and keep trying to do it yourself and keep buying the $97 thing and the $197 thing and going on the free trainings and doing more and more and more and more and eating up your precious time. Or you can find a proven framework. Doesn't have to be our proven framework, but you got to find a proven framework to work for your business. And I think we're the best place to do that. All right. So you want to stop trying to reinvent the wheel. Yes, you're one of a kind. Yes, you're the only one. However, you need a system. And if you really hit it out of the park, you're going to find somebody who has a library of resources for you where you can tap into their proven system. So you're going to bring your unique brilliance and you're going to work inside a framework, which is different than like one size fits all. Do you see the difference? Great frameworks are malleable, they're customizable, and they'll work with you as you work with them. So you want to really get a proven system if you're a woman who knows that you're capable of more. If you know you're tired of struggling in your business and you're really ready to make impact, what I'm going to share with you is this is the time to take action. The thing that's missing for you most of the time in this conversation is your system. So to do all of this, you need a launch system. I like this. We were going to call this launch, and I thought that was kind of dudeish. I don't know. Maybe because I live by SpaceX, I was like, I got inspired by this piece, right? All right. So, what is a launch system? A launch system simply means launching is like a campaign. So these are marketing terms, right? What it is it's the system that actually attracts your ideal clients in the way of traffic as prospects. Those of you that came here from advertising, that's a system. We also teach organic marketing. It's very important when you're just getting started to be able to get your baseline going and get your systems built. We offer, training on how to do that organically. You want to bring in your ideal clients, you want to nurture them, and you want to give them an opportunity to say yes to themselves, right? That's your launch system. So how you build your own is you have a couple of options. You can either spend years trying to figure this out on your own, as I said, or you can decide, hey, maybe I want to stop messing around and I'm going to get some help. So you can hire a high ticket consultant to come in and help you. That's another way to go. The year that we quadrupled our business, I spent $30,000 hiring someone to tell me how to do it. I still had to do the work, right? That's not what we're offering to you, by the way, today. All right. So the traditional process of doing it yourself or hiring somebody else who's going to tell you what to do is that there's lots of money spent. There's lots of money spent back and forth. And for those of you that are over the age of, 14, I have to tell you, you're old enough to know that your time is your most precious commodity. You don't need a wake up call. We don't need another COVID-19 to remind us that time is precious, right? So if you've had any of those experiences in life where you're like, hey, I want to get it going, this is the time to make a difference for yourself. And I'm going to share with you what we have to offer for you, if that's okay. Is everybody okay with me sharing with you how we're doing it in our world so that you can see how it works possibly in your own world? All right. So what I want you to do is to experience a breakthrough. And it starts with you being open-minded to things can be different. Right? You want to stop hiring random vendors, stop trying to buy bits and pieces and understand the power of a system. You have to have a proven system and you have to fully commit. So like the people that registered that didn't get here tonight, hopefully they listen to this and it's valuable for them. But there's a lot of people dabbling in the world. And what I know as a person who leads leaders is that leaders take action and that action changes things. That's literally one of our core values at Limitless Women. Action changes the world. Right. So if you're a woman who's ready to take action, this may be just what you need to hear tonight. And I'm happy to share it with you. Okay. So we have the systems and the technology where you don't have to hire a graphic designer. You don't have to hire a web strategist. You don't have to go on and learn all the new prompts for AI if you're playing in that world with us. You don't have to do all of those things because we've done it for you. And I can just say after 35, let's see, 23, 35, 36, I'm going on 37 years as an entrepreneur, 9 companies, I've literally hired thousands of people. We've got the technology to make those things that feel difficult for you not so difficult. When you have a system, you'll move a lot faster and you'll save yourself time and money, which is really the beauty of that, right? So let's just look at a client attraction system as one of the places that you may be feeling a little stuck. If you feel like you need some help attracting clients, would you do me a favor and write me too? I think me too we're not on that movement tonight, but you write that for me in the chat. If you feel like you need some help with getting some clients. If you know that getting some clients that are your ideal match could actually help change the game for your business, right? Put that in the chat for me. Thank you. Okay. So the traditional way that's happening for most women entrepreneurs is they're sitting there trying to create tons of content organically to be seen without having a clear message, not knowing where to go or what to do. Is LinkedIn going to work for me? Is Instagram going to work for me? How do I build my email list? Should I go out networking? There's so many moving pieces. So I want to tell you that what you need is a system that will help you create regular, concurrent ongoing leads. And it's not going to happen when you're trying to fight the crowds and be seen and be all things to all people. Right? One thing that you've heard so far that's helpful for you in the chat. What's one thing that you've heard in just a little bit that we've been sharing here, kind of about the mindset, the ideology, what you need to help yourself grow? What's one thing you've heard? Could you write that for me in the chat right now? Hopefully you have something to share. Okay. Good, good, good. Thank you for those chats. Let's see what we got here. I got some numbers here. Where to start the foundation pieces. Thank you. Yeah. Good, good, good. Yeah. Okay, cool. Um, it's wild what happens when you just look, get clear about who you're serving, and then you'll love working with them. Yeah. Good, good, good. Thank you for sharing that. All right. So let's get back to the difference between sitting there and trying to figure out what to do and where to go and how to spend your time, the difference of that versus having a script, having a fill in the blank method. We've got a lot of systems for you where you actually just fill in the blanks, but you fill in the blanks with your business and what's going on for you. Shelley, are you trying to talk to me? Are you? Okay, cool, cool, cool. All right, cool. I saw you waving there. All right. So what you need is consistency. So here's the result that I want to say to you is that consistent recurring revenue comes as a result of consistent recurring marketing actions. And for most of us, when we get started, we don't know where to go or what to do. We're throwing spaghetti at the wall. What we want to share with you is here's the actions that will get you to the results that you want to have. And our systems are not just about marketing. Our systems are around how marketing will lead you to sales with ease, which will lead you to having consistent finance for your company, will allow you to hire the team members that will support you with delivering the promise in your operations of your organization, right? So here's a few more ladies from Limitless Women that you haven't met yet, but you will. This is Mia Brown. Now, Mia Brown is a remarkable human being. I can tell you that she came into our program when we were running a cohort of our Limitless Women Business School, and it was $5,000. And within 6 months, she did $250,000 in sales in her company. Now, I personally love this testimonial, and I will tell you that she's a smart cookie, and that's not a usual thing, right? But it's authentic. And she's the first person to share with you. She'll be with us in April at our live event, that this is what she did. She got clean, she got clear, and she chose to get her actions on. And all of a sudden, her revenue started popping. Here's another person who you may or may not know, Felicia Cersei. She's a beautiful leader. She formerly was a Unity minister and now has a life coaching, build your dream life business. And, she was working hard and not really getting the results that she wanted. And we helped her grow her business by 70% in about a year and a half. It wasn't quite overnight. And you remember this piece around Betsy Clark. I shared her earlier. The piece for Betsy was clarity, and it was about letting go of all the actions that were not in alignment with her consistent plan. So when she stopped doing the things she was spending her time on that were not generating revenue, and she started doing revenue generating activities, it was kind of like, oh, wow, here are these people just waiting for the invitation. It's a pretty cool thing. So now it's your turn. And I want to say to you that this stuff that I'm sharing with you is about real women getting real results. These are not people who, have miraculous skill sets. As much as I love them all as individuals, they're women like you and I. They've got families, they've got responsibilities, they've got elders, they've got youngsters, they've got everything in between. But what they're doing is they're choosing to take the right actions in the right order and getting the results that they want in their business.
Are you a limitless woman? This is your personal invitation to learn how you can join our online community, grow through our business school, and play with us at our live events. Go to limitlesswomen.com for all the details. That's limitlesswomen.com. Thanks for joining us.